All right. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to SEMA ETTN. Live streaming this thing. I'm going to check on Facebook and share. We've got some great guests this afternoon, some friends of mine from General Motors. We're going to talk about the future of racing, the future of high performance cars. We're going to talk about some electrical advancements from GM. Give me just a sec. I want to share this thing on my page. Let's see, EV future coming now. Let's see if that works, Russ. I'm going to give it a try. All right. Well, look, good afternoon again. I'm Dr. Jamie Meyer, your president for PRI. Super excited to invite some guests, the ETTN. I want to thank that network and Andrew Murnau for letting me host this. First guest up, Russelblinis, Director of Performance and Racing Propulsion Team. Hey, Russ, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jamie. Good to see you.
And Prashant Ahir, Special Projects Leader, Performance and Racing Electrification. Prashant, good to see you again.
Same here. Good afternoon, Jamie.
Well, guys, so good to see you. So good to get some time with you. And, full disclosure, I worked with you guys at GM for many years. In the performance group. It was an honor to work with you guys and a lot of fun. We had a lot of projects we got done, some things we didn't get done, right, Russ? We're not going to talk about the fun stuff we didn't get done.
Yeah, or the stuff that we just didn't tell anybody about that we did get done.
But look, what we hope to do here in the next 30, 45 minutes is talk about electrical propulsion. Honestly, you two are far ahead in this space. You're setting the course for General Motors from a propulsion standpoint. There's a lot of industry folks talking about electrification of vehicles. You guys are already doing it, and you've built several cars. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But Russ, maybe frame this up for everybody that's watching this. And remember, we're talking to aftermarket experts that are online right now. We're talking to folks that are racers. You have been raised on big block and small block Chevys. We've been in Detroit. You and I have worked on cars that we won't see for 10 years, but frame it up for folks. It sounds like a simple question, but how big is the electrification? How big is the EV influence on manufacturers right now?
Yeah, as Mary Barra, our CEO and president, has made it patently clear that 000, or specifically in this space on zero emissions, is really our core for the future. And if you look at the investment that General Motors has been making into really leading in this technology, it's really exciting. And that's kind of what got us excited. Jamie, I am a performance guy to the absolute bone. And, I wanted to look and really try to understand with the team what we felt that performance electrification in our aftermarket space would look like in the future. And that's really where it started with our eCopo project, and then just continued to roll forward into what our vision of eCrate will look like in the future, as our portfolio is very strong and continuing to grow on the internal combustion engine side, but we really want to lead on both ends. We've always been at the forefront on our crate engine, and now we want our crate electrification package to really lead the charge. And, we're excited about, where it's going and the progress that we've made in a fairly short time.
So Russ, this is a great intro. You've raced around the world. You've raced pretty much every sanctioning body in existence, and folks really need to understand, and this isn't, I'm not bragging about your accomplishments, but Russ, you have got to be one of the top 10 minds in powertrain today. You've done everything. You're still leading the way at GM. When you took on this project, and this is only a couple of years ago, this bigger idea of we're going to go electric, what folks need to understand and talk real technical about this, Russ, if you will, but you took what existed then, which was an electric powertrain in a production vehicle, and you have repackaged this in the shape of a small block Chevy, or the size of a small block Chevy. Can you go into that a little bit? And then Prashant, we're going to go to you because you've used this in many vehicles. So, Russ, you want to frame up the powertrain, and then we'll ask Prashant about how he really got it into vehicles.
For sure. And first, I just want to start, I appreciate your kind words, but it's absolutely a team. As you know, I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by an amazing group of people. I like to say, I just like to keep the bus in the lane and make sure that we drive it forward, and very lucky there. But in the performance space specifically, that mentality of how could we literally build a package that you could take your internal combustion engine out and bolt an electric motor right in that place, right? We started with eCopo with taking some aftermarket components that were available and then doing our own housing, and specifically a bell housing and a crank flange, so that all the spacing works, the bolt patterns are exactly the same. We were literally able to take our Copo SFI rated bell housing and flex plate, bolt it to the crank, and then bolt the package together. And as I've said, the transmission only knows RPM and torque, right? That the rest of the driveline doesn't really know the difference. And we've continued to do that, where now with our performance package, utilizing our internal parts, we've been able to take the production bolt drive unit and basically take the differential and the gear reduction out of it. And we made a casting that literally bolts where that plate would go, developed an output flange that literally splines right to the production bolt rotor. And then you end up, you can see it, right here. That's why I put this up here. If you look right there, that's actually the bolt drive unit hooked right up to the transmission, and then it also allows us to run all the production controls. For us, just like we did with Connect and Cruise, maybe you were a big part of making that happen with us at GM. We wanted that same thing where you really get all of the refinement and all of the technology, and specifically the safety with the electrification world, and especially with us performance tinkerers. We really want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to educate our customers and make sure that the package overall is refined and can be implemented as safely as possible. So using all of our production stuff, we're able to maintain all the software, all the safety oversight, whether it's BMS or ground fault protection, really make this package that works together. And if anyone saw, you could just type in K5 Blazer electric, and there's lots of articles, but you can see how nice the packaging is. And that's all production, even the high voltage wiring, et cetera, is right out of the bolt. So, it really lets us use all those components that are validated and put it into your performance vehicle.
Well, it's great, Russ. And clearly, Hot Rodder had to think about this in the very beginning stages, so, brilliant how you and the team have put this together. Prashant, I want to turn to you now. We did have a question come in. I think Russ answered it clearly, but will this eCrate motor bolt to any existing transmission? So address that in a second, but talk about these vehicles that you've taken this electric powertrain that GM has been prototyping now for a couple of years. And Russ, you mentioned several examples, but Prashant, again, we've got a very technical audience on the line today. Talk about what it has taken to get things fitted in some really classic GM vehicles.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's been a lot of fun just working on these projects. You're taking classic cars and you're converting them into using a future technology, and so you can still keep running these the cars that you always loved throughout your life, and you can still keep driving them in future, right? So it's been an awesome fun. But just overall implementation, how we got the powertrain and batteries and everything, all the high voltage connectors in the vehicle, that was absolutely smooth. If you, like Ross was saying, majority of the parts are carry over from production Chevy board, at least for this first wave of offering that we have. And it's as smooth as if you just pull up the workshop manual or the Chevy bolt repair manual. That basically tells you a lot of information, right? So there are a lot of process is already predefined. So we were able to use those, and just swapping the motor out instead of engine was as easy as you would swap a LS engine, right? But we have a lot of trained and good technicians in our shops at GM. So it was obviously smooth, but long term, what we are really, our plan is, we obviously don't want anybody doing that same thing in their own garages, right? So you would want to bring your vehicle to our GM dealers or GM approved installers who would get all the safety training from us and all the proper procedures on how to install a battery, all these modules, how to make all the high voltage connections. And all those things will have to be done properly with the right training. So once you have all the training, it was absolutely easy installation.
Yeah, and Russ touched on this, Prashant, but do you want to really stress the safety concern around these powertrains? And again, you're talking to an audience that doesn't have your corporate training, so
right.
Can you really put it in simple terms so folks understand the dangers here?
Yeah, and danger, it's how you manage it. One of the things that I've said for a long time is it took us 100 years to figure out how to manage gasoline, right? Gasoline, if not used properly, can be dangerous too. It's really about making sure that we have a good training, right? If you look, production vehicles are out there, we're selling production bolts every day, all of other companies, right? So this is going to just be an overall growth with our customers on what to do. But when you're, those production vehicles are fully integrated. So at least at the start of our journey here, we felt the best thing to do was really make sure that we had, people that our customers could go to, that we knew that the cars that they ended up with would be done properly and really help. And then that could get spread out throughout more customers and then possibly transition to the next phase. But out of the box, we really feel that, that importance and the ability to have these certified installers actually then train the customer that's getting the vehicle, basically walk through just like you would get trained on how to use OnStar, just if you do have a problem or if some maintenance is needed, which is functionally zero, which is another great thing about it. But just good fundamental safety process is really, it's always job number one at GM, so we're putting that at the forefront.
Well, it's good. I mean, it's quite a development for the aftermarket, Russ, with installation centers and the safety concerns, and I like the parallel here. Prashant, there's a couple of questions coming in. You want to talk about the electric vehicles and if they're modification friendly? Are you building any headroom into these powertrains in different stages, Prashant?
So we're not our group, at least. So there's a separate group who works on the production EVs, the production vehicles for General Motors. So that's not where we are focused on. Our pure focus right now is really the EV conversions. Like Russ was talking about earlier, if you have existing conventional ICE engine vehicle, that's the conversion kit that we are really working towards right now.
Yeah. And if you look at even just in the announcements that we've made so far in our electric space, if you look at the new Hummer EV that we made the announcement and the type of performance that we're, as a company, General Motors is serious about safety, but we're also serious about performance. And if you look at what's coming in that space, that's just a taste of how serious the team is. And, our leadership is looking in every area of what we can provide, incredible performance to our customers.
What are we talking about? Power out for the folks at home.
The Hummer is being advertised as approximately 1,000 horsepower total. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
I just wanted you to say it, Russ, so they could hear it from you.
Horsepower, 1,000 horsepower.
Let's see, there's another question coming in, guys. We got a lot of folks that are interested in, again, we're on with Russelblinis and Prashant Iyer. They're experts from General Motors, some of the top minds in the game. What are the aftermarket performance electric options for charging? And do all batteries require a cooling off period? So a couple of questions there about the usability and when they get them in a vehicle, can we charge them? And then the cooling, we know that's a big part of this, Russ. You want to talk about that, guys?
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about our package is you're able to use all of the same charging applications that you would with your Volt. So up to 50 kilowatts of charging with a fast charger. And then any of our standard level 2 chargers, the 220 chargers, which is typically what people would have at home. So we have exactly the same charge port that's universal through all of our electric vehicles. Prashant probably remembers the number. What is it, J1392 or something like that?
You got it. Yeah. Good
Oh,
memory.
that was a good. I'm getting old. I forget numbers now, but yeah. So really, that's the benefit there. And then relative to the cooling, because we use all of the production Volt components, it has both the cooling and the heating of the battery pack still maintained, just like the production pack does. Prashant can add some detail there.
All right. Real good. Another question. I think I know the answer here because GM has gone away from a hybrid vehicle and just straight electric, but we've got aftermarket folks asking, is there a hybrid option with some of the work you're doing here?
Prashant?
Not at the moment. I mean, that's not, I mean, like Russ said earlier, the General Motors, the overall corporation vision is purely all electric vehicles in future, right? 0, 0, 0. So no hybrids at the moment on our.
Yeah, if you look at hybrids overall, in motorsports, obviously there are some areas where, we're deeply involved in the IndyCar program. And as most of you know, in 23, IndyCar has made an announcement that they'll have a hybrid system on the IndyCar. So in our team specifically, we're definitely getting some learnings out of working on the racing programs. We recently kicked off our Extreme E relationship with the Hummer with Team Ganassi to run an Extreme E. So we're really starting to get some good learning. So as Jamie knows, he was right hand in hand with us. One of the most important things that we try to do in the performance team is get directly integrated with the production team. And we develop side by side. And one of the great things in the team that we've put together, both on the performance vehicle and propulsion side, we're go fast, right? To win, you have to be able to go fast with quality. So what we're often able to do, and there's a lot of developments, right? If this first package that we're launching with the production Volt battery is because everything was there. It was very well developed. We wanted to get out there, right? There's been lots of discussion about the packaging concerns, right? It's a big battery. So we're really concentrating on, the trucks and, El Camino, it's a perfect fit. When you guys see how beautiful the partnership with Lingenfelter, the El Camino is like an amazing package. And, but we're obviously working on, how do we make it where it's more modular, right? If you look at our eCopo, we started right out of the box with basically 4 bricks that allowed us to put the batteries where we wanted it. So with General Motors Ultium coming forward, we're full force on how do we use this amazing new technology that's coming in the Ultium packs to be able to come up with a more modular system to be our Gen 2, Gen 3 eCrates. But we felt it was really important to get to the market quick with something that was mature and really, a safe, high quality package to start getting the ball rolling. Because you mentioned it early on. I mean, the electric performance space is growing every single day. You see another announcement, right? FIA just yesterday made the announcement on their GT electric class. Even NASCAR is talking about what will their future be, really. So it's everyone's asking questions on what will the future look for all of us. Performance.
I do want to transition to racing because you guys have raced these powertrains more than anyone. But let's the eCrate as a package. Have you got a timing of when you think it'll be available? And then is there a price range you can share today?
Yeah, so on timing, we're full force right now looking at partners, right? Lingenfelter was really, we used them to say, okay, to Prashant's point, our technicians, we kind of threw the stuff over the fence. They were well trained. could they do it? Well, Lingenfelter, obviously a known source, right? Built lots of cars, good technology. So at that level, how difficult of a job would it be for them? And then also developing the process, right? So we have I-sheets that we're developing for our other partners. So we're right now parallel pathing. I would say that the package itself is very mature and reasonably ready to go. Right now, we're just kind of crossing the T's and dotting the I's on how we do the commercial side. But the second half of the year, these things will be ready to go, and that's our plan, right? Our announcement was that by the second half of the year, as you know me, I'm pushing closer to the middle, but we want to make sure that when it comes out, that we're really right and we're ready, but and then as far as pricing, the one thing that is just a reality that's a difficult thing in the battery space is the fundamental horsepower per dollar, at least at this time, is never going to be there, right? In the foreseeable future, until we make our really, if you look at the cost of kilowatt hours per dollar and power per dollar, right, it's on the downward slope, but it's high. But we're working on trying to make it, if you look at what's in the market, we're trying to come out, considering the quality and level of what you're getting, we want to make sure that it's price competitive. But so I can't give you an exact number yet, but we will be in the hunt where we feel it's a good value to the customer. The other interesting part is the performance. When you look, right, it's 200-ish horsepower, which doesn't sound like a lot. But one of the things that we're really excited about is getting more customers in them. It's quite compelling how good they really are. It's not ever, at this point, it's not 800 horsepower, but one of the benefits with electric is obviously speed. Motor speed is not critical to fuel economy or any of that stuff. So you can put a lot of gear ratio in it. And this is really about fun performance at this stage, and that was a big part of why we did the K5 and even the El Camino. It really has, fun performance. You're not going to have, sit your back in the seat and pull the wheels off the ground performance, but really the integration and just how fun they are to drive. I mean, every single time someone drives these, they just get out chuckling because it's amazing how nicely they work,
Well, no, I love it, Russ. I understand the timing question can be tough. I'm sure we're going to see something at the SEMA show along these lines. Is that safe to say, Russ?
I'm sure we'll continue. I'm sure that we'll continue to develop the program. Obviously, I'm sure that Lingenfelter will be there, and we're on path to continue to make splashes there. We always take SEMA super serious, and we're looking for the exciting next steps to keep our customers with packages that they're going to want.
Perfect. And then I think you've done a great sales job here, because we've got people asking who are.
That wasn't the plan. This is about technology. I'm not the sales guy. That's your job, Jamie.
I want to know who are the certified installers, or maybe I could reword that to say, when will the public see a list of your certified installation centers for this technology, Russ?
Yeah, and Prashant can follow too, but basically right now we're going through the vetting process. So we put out requests for people to put their requests in to raise their hand. And as you know, we have some great dealers. We want our dealers to be involved. We have some dealers that we're working for. So our plan is, to roll out a well laid out plan around the country to have all of our customers in the areas have something, to start out that's reasonably close with a broad range of, all at a very high level of quality, and, people that, there won't be anybody coming out that people don't go, yeah, I get it, kind of thing. And then even with our dealers, we have some great performance dealers. So between our dealerships that want to be involved, and like I said, right now we're really going through the technical vetting. I'm assuming in that same time frame when we announce RFS, we'll roll out the rest of the list. Lingenfelter was a great choice. based on our location for one, their obvious technical capabilities, right? They have a solid engineering background, have built hundreds of cars from scratch, you know, and everything that we felt they would do, they've done for us.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and if
Oh, Prashant, there's a question in here about a battery solution to help with the swaps. I think that's part of your package, but you know, are you going to have anything that could help the aftermarket adapt this powertrain into more vehicle platforms?
oh, so that's an interesting question. Did I hear swappable battery? Sounds like a great idea in long-term future, but right now, the package that we're working towards, it's a complete kit. It works as a system. We don't want to sell just the battery by itself or just the motor by itself, or there's so many other modules, right? They all need to be together in order for the system to work, right? So that is not on the horizon right now. So it's a complete connect and cruise kit, right? That's what we're planning on.
It's great. It's great that you're
Relative to battery packaging, Jamie, I think that might have been partly what the question was about too. Is you know, our next step is how do we we've already have some repackaged modules. Like one of the things that we want to do is all the work that's put into our actual modules. So all of our production packs are built from different modules. So we're looking at both the BEV3 module being repackaged, but also as we go to Ultium, it really brings that technology to the next level, how we get with more of a building block solution to the point of opening up the platforms that the package will fit in. If you remember with the E10 and our stackable play too, right? The ability to have more than one motor to be able to end up having more power. So, you know, again, right now we're really trying to establish the overall GM, you know, electrification performance play, and then we'll be able to add more packages as both technology grows. We can add more installers. So our plan is this is the budding of our industry, and then as we're able to grow it, right, we get the learnings from the first batch while we're parallel pathing.
No, it's really smart how you're putting it together. Again, folks, got a lot of folks joining us today. I'm Jamie Meyer. I've got Russelblinis from the performance team at GM, and Prashant Ahayar, who's built a number of electrified hot rods. And we're going through the new eCrate offering from GM. Several questions here, Prashant. Will the eCrate be available to replica car manufacturers under the new CARB regulations? Have you done that homework as you release it?
Yeah, Ross, you want to take that?
So the interesting thing right now, you know, so we, our compliance team, you know, it's going to be interesting right now. Basically, the electrification is fairly open. You know, if you look at all of the stuff that's going on right now with CARB and EPA on really cracking down on the aftermarket, on, you know, making sure that the rules are being, you know, followed. I mean, we're serious about our emissions compliance and our green, you know, driving towards a greener future. I think we feel long-term, this will be another perfect opportunity, right? Where you're going to be able to have high technology and, you know, high technology package with its zero emissions in an older vehicle, right? I mean, I think that'll be a perfect long-term play for that. We have had a few people reach out. And the other thing that's amazing about this package is the bigger picture growth in other organizations and other areas of industry. There's lots of vehicles right now powered by gas and diesel in industries where they're looking to become more and more green, whether because of regulations, because of long-term operational costs. So we're really looking at eCrate. Performance is our core as a team, but all of these other opportunities have really budded, you know, in the space, and we're excited about what's the next phase. And this, you know, these low volume car manufacturers are a perfect opportunity to have a super developed package available for their vehicles down the road.
Just a really clever solution. Prashant, question about, does the system come with a complete HVAC?
Yes, it does. Yeah, so it does. Like I said, it's a lot of carryover parts, and we're really selling this as a kit, right? So the battery, the motor, and all the cooling and heating requirement that comes with it, battery management system, thermal management. Yes, so the kit will include all that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then we're also going to offer, like, so for the battery, for sure, we'll have the heating and cooling. Then we also have an optional cabin heater, right? The Bolt cabin heater runs off electric. So you can either buy that or not. Some of us don't care what a coat's for, you know, who needs a heater in your performance car? But for those that are looking for full, you know, it gives an opportunity. The same thing, we have a power steering solution. So we're really trying to come to market with, you know, that's why we've been building vehicles, because we're able to knock down, you know, Jamie, just like you, I've built a number of cars, and it's always been so important to make sure that we really, you know, if we build it and have an issue, chances are very good that our customers and our partners are going to have it. So along the way, we've been trying to knock down all of the things that we think are going to come up so that it's really clear, just like dashboard, you know, having a CAN output so customers can use off-the-shelf dashes and do some customization. You know, if you saw the E10, we did a super cool dash that you put graphics on, and you can do that. But on the converse, for the K5, we went a different way, where we set it up and we have a module so you can do analog emulation of the CAN. Like in the K5, the fuel gauge is actually the battery charge state. You know, the coolant temperature for the battery is actually regular coolant temperature. You know, I like the old school stuff. So we want to give, kind of like we're doing with our crate package overall, how do you bookend? So whatever the customer wants, they want super high tech, that's there. If you want to stay super stealth, like we did the K5, you know, that was truly our validation vehicle. You know, we said, okay, we pulled that out of our heritage fleet and said, okay, if I've got a truck, what would we do if it was our own? You know, that's why, you know, we got all sorts of mixed emotions about the wheels and the tires, and it's like bone stock, and yet we just put the stuff in, and when you drive it, it's just a super compelling package. You know?
No, it's great integration, and obviously the vehicles have gotten better, as you know, the examples you have built at GM have gotten better. Guys, I want to talk racing with you, and I know we're short on time here, but we got one more question I want to touch on. The target range, and obviously the vehicles are going to vary, but then the charging time for this eCrate that we're talking about. Russ, can you add a little color to the target range for these vehicles, and then how long it takes to charge them?
Yeah, I'll hand the charging back to Prashant, but on the range, you know, so much of it depends on the vehicle and the driving style. You know, where with, you know, the K5 with, you know, old school 4-wheel drive, I mean, it's all the original TKs, all that. You know, we've been, you know, well over 100 miles with that package. You know, but if you put it in something a little more aero-y, you know, I'm assuming that the, you know, the El Camino will do better. You know, if you look at how much efficiency goes into our production all electric vehicles, you know, every step of the way, it's about getting the most out of it. So these aren't gonna compete with what you would get out of a Bolt, even though the battery is the same, just because even down to the transmission, again, we made a very conscious decision for 2 reasons on keeping the transmissions. One, gear ratio equals fun, right? I mean, the cheapest way to make a car that may not be that peppy is to put more gear in it, whether it's through the transmission or rear end, and that's really come to fruition when you drive them. And then also that ease of installation. So range will vary, you know, depending on driving style and vehicle, but you know, we're feeling as long as we're in the 100-mile range for most of these performance cruise kind of thing, you know, 100 to 150 miles is probably a realistic bogey. You know, Prashant was able to implement Prashant and Adam. We have an amazing engineer that works with us, Adam Maloney, that's done all the software, and we have full regen. So we've fixed our transmission. So they do, you know, we used to call it engine braking. I guess now it'll be motor braking. So that we're able to fully implement the regen too, which has made a huge impact on range. So you can almost drive them with no brakes, you know, when you go into the 1 pedal mode. So pretty And with charging, Prashant?
Yes, charging is really depends on how big of a charger you want to use. So in industry charge standard, there's three different levels. Level one, where you can use a regular 110 outlet in your house or garage, or level two being the 220 outlet, and the level three being the DC fast charge, basically at the 440 outlet or 480 outlet. But it's a pretty similar to what the Chevy Bolt is in terms of charging. Right? I go by the rule of 110 100. Like in 1 hour, you can charge about 1% of the battery if you have a level one. You can charge about 10% of the battery in terms of the SOC if you go to a level two, and you can get a full battery charge if you have a big charger, right? In 1 hour. So and all these chargers are standard. I mean, we don't want to have something unique where you're driving. You're going on a long drive and you're looking for a specific charger. No, these are all standard SAE standard chargers and also GM service chargers.
Okay, good. Guys, I know we're going to run short here, so I want to jump to racing electric vehicles. Russ, again, one of the greatest minds in this industry right now. You guys have had more experience than any other team looking at electric vehicles in competition, electric powertrain in competition. Russ, can you frame it up? eCopo comes to mind immediately, but you've had other venues. Talk to the racers that are plugged into this right now, are going to be watching this on our different channels. Where's the future with electric vehicles and racing?
Yeah, I mean, it will continue to grow, right? The obvious issue now is the range, right? Everyone understands the battery pack only has so much power, right? And if you drag it out fast, if you're using big power to go fast, it's going to take a while. But I always tell people we're kind of just coming into the Pentium if you compare it to where we are with computers and batteries. And when you look at all of the industry now that is going full on to developing battery technology, I think it's going to just, we're going to continue to grow on that exponential curve on where we're going to go for mass and volume versus energy. Right now, we specifically picked eCopo partly because of the partner, but also because at the time where the batteries were ranged, it was perfect, right? Big power, short amount of time, it was really good. If you look kind of some of the longer races now, people looking at hybrid to start getting people comfortable with electrification, how that ties in both on the racer side and the fans. And now as more and more areas, I mean, you look, if anyone got to watch the Extreme E, I mean, it was pretty compelling racing. The vehicles were fast, they went a good distance. And now as people like the FIA and IMSA and all of these other sanctioning bodies that we're partners with look at what's the future looking like, I mean, it is going to come. I mean, this will be part of it. I believe that it's not, I don't want to say never, hopefully not while I'm still breathing. I think there's room for both, but I believe it will be a major part of the future of motorsports. And I think that they will coexist. And as that technology grows, it will become more and more compelling.
And Russ, speak to the whole, the aftermarket folks that watch this. If you're a company that is on the cutting edge of technology and you're watching what's going on at GM, where would you put your effort to go racing with electric vehicles? Where do you see spots in the market where a company could really make a name for themselves right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult, it's an interesting question. If you look, all of the areas of development, our corporation, we have groups of people in every area, because the one thing, there's so much to gain everywhere, whether it's inverter technology, motor technology, batteries. I mean, those are really the three big core deliverables. That's going to be the fundamentals going forward, whether it's how do we cool a battery, right? We have lots of knowledge on how to cool engines and years of, look at 5 different engine designs, and the water jacket's different, the flow path is different. Right? There's so much learning that we're at a point now where we're still able to make big chunks, and the core deliverable. I mean, the good news is voltage times current equals power. So it's really about developing, voltage, you know what I'm saying? you know, voltage times amperage equals power, you know, and it's all about how do you manage that, get more out of the battery, manage the heat that's made from it, you know, and get it to the ground. So the good news is whatever area you're in, there's something to look at, whether it's additive manufacturing or materials, right? How do you get more heat out quicker? How do you make stuff lighter? I mean, you know, we're fighting all of this battery mass. So what can you do to get weight out of other areas so you can offset some of the mass that you're picking up on the batteries, those sort of areas? You know, because it's going to be a compounding effect of how it grows to something really compelling down the future.
And Prashant, do you want to add about the performance of these vehicles? You're one of the very few people that have hands-on experience with a hot rod electric vehicle. I mean, tell the folks how exciting these things are from a performance and a racing standpoint.
These are all the vehicles that we've built so far. They are so much fun to drive. Obviously, having the instant torque as soon as you even touch the pedal, it's amazing feeling, right? No, I mean, and as you drive these for a long time, you almost forget that that it's actually anything unique like or EV. I mean, it feels like a normal, regular driving with a lot of power and torque in it. That's how much I mean, they're fun.
Oh, that's awesome, guys. There's one question here I want to touch. Let's clean this up. On the eCrate system, will the DBC file be available for aftermarket dashes? Is that a yes/no question?
What we're doing is we're making it in a standard protocol that's already out there. That one's 1390 something, I forget, whatever the standard CAN protocol is that most of the dashes use. We will put a CAN stream out there that basically you'll be able to plug an aftermarket dash in and get all the pertinent data out of it. So we're not going to give a particular DBC file, but we'll make sure that, you know, it's on the standard protocol that we use so that a dash will be functional and you can make a dash layout that you want.
Well, guys, super interesting product and project as you guys move forward. Can't wait to see what you bring to the SEMA show. And of course, we're going to have a special electric racing area at the PRI show. That's in December in Indianapolis, December 9th through 11th. PRI show, Russ, that's your favorite trade show, right?
I love it.
Okay.
Hey, one quick note, you know, please, as a shout out, please keep an eye out on the Chevrolet Performance website. You know, we have a fully dedicated section now on electrification. There's lots of background on the K5 and the E10 out there. So, you know, every time something comes up, you know, we're trying to keep that up to date and, you know, keep an eye on it. And, you know, we're really excited about getting feedback. You know, this is trying to provide something compelling that the customer is going to be excited about. And, you know, we're in it for the long haul. General Motors is absolutely committed to, you know, making great product, and the electrification space offers so much potential for performance for our customers. And truly, the more exposure people get, I mean, it just puts a chuckle on your face, like Prashant said. And I think that as more customers get ability to have contact with them, they'll feel the same way.
Well said, Russ. Clearly your work, not your work, you're setting the groundwork for a whole new generation of hot rodders and really a whole new branch for what performance means coming out of General Motors. And everybody, thanks you very much. Russ, I also got a question here about they think that we should do our own podcast. Are you available every Friday afternoon? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think our last meeting doesn't end till 5:30. It'll have to be after that. Okay.
And then there's a question about why I can't tune my C8 Corvette, but we're not going to get into that today.
No, we are not.
Okay.
You are correct, sir.
Well, look, Russelblinis, Prashant, Ahir, it's been a pleasure to get some time with you guys. I really appreciate you making time for us. I want to thank the ETTN network for letting me host this. And Russ, you're always welcome back. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. If not, I'll see you at SEMA and PRI, okay?
Sign us up. You know, I always love catching up, Jamie.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Prashant, good luck.
Thank you.
Hope all your business cases are positive out there, guys. So
job number 2 after safety.
Excellent. Guys,
Thank
thanks again. Have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you so much, Russ. And
thank you.
All right, bye, everybody. Be safe.